To install Logicity, there's a couple things you're going to need to do at each workstation level. This is one of these programs that needs to be installed locally on each system, so you will need to go around and do that. And basically there's two steps to it. One is you're going to run the Logicity Installer, which is the same installer you download from the website. That it's the same version that the free version of Logicity runs off of. It's the same installer, the Pro version, and the same version Logicity Manufacturing runs off of. You install that software. Next thing you're going to do is put in your key code for the software. So when you buy it, we give you a registration key. And what that does is that just unlocks a bunch of features in Logicity software, because by default you're actually running the free version. And when you do that, this enables the interaction with visual and handful of other things that make it an enhancement over the free version. And lastly, and this is an optional one, we include crystal reports with the software. We'll talk a little bit more about them on the next slide here. But if you want to use those reports right out of the box without needing to do anything on your end, you'll need to set up an ODBC data source named Visual and point it to your Visual database. If you use any other ODBC data source name already, because maybe you already developed some crystal reports internally, you can still use our reports. You'll just need to do a set location on them and point them to the ODBC data source that you prefer. All right, so now we're going to transition from just talking about the software to actually showing you how it works. And we're going to actually be demoing, first off, with how a typical user would interact with the software, not needing to worry about the back end of this. And we're actually demoing with what we call starter report. The starter reports are a handful of reports we include with Logicity to really just to get you started if you don't already have reports for these modules. We've got all the tables linked. We've got it hooked up in the Logicity solution file. So it kind of gives you a template for how you can write a report. They're definitely not meant to be an exact perfect report that you're just going to use out of the box. You'll almost have to certainly modify them to get them how you want them. But it's something to give you a start if you're not familiar with the table structures and stuff like that. So we're going to demo out of custom order entry, which I've got a session of Visual open here. And I'm going to go to custom order entry. And I'm going to pull up a custom order ID. So again, pretending I'm an end user here, just using this. If I wanted to print off my custom order acknowledgement, what I'd typically do is go to File, Print Acknowledgement, or hit one of these print buttons. This is the one part of retrain you'll need to do if you go with Logicity for visual manufacturing is we have to wedge our stuff under the macro menu because we don't really have the ability to reprogram any of these buttons. So under the macro menu, you have an entry here called Logicity. You can click on, and it's going to bring up a Logicity Workspace. Now, this Logicity Workspace is a list of all the reports that are relevant to just this module. So each module is going to have a different workspace when you pull it up in there. So right now, we've only got one report, the starter report for this module, and that happens to be the custom order acknowledgement. So as an end user from here, I simply double-click on this, and it's going to bring up the Logicity window. It's refreshing the database live right now. And what you'll see is we were looking at custom order 02001. We've got a crystal report that's pulled up for that exact data here. So not only is the Logicity Workspace, the list of reports for the module integrated with the screen, but also the data is integrated with the screen as well. A few benefits you're going to have immediately just by having reports in the crystal format as opposed to the QRP format, aside from them being infinitely easier to edit and make them do what you want.
Oh, really?
All right,
yeah,
so we have some experience there.
We actually have quite a bit of experience converting and creating new crystal reports to get away from those QRP reports.
Yeah, they're a real nightmare for editing. I mean, it's like more often than not you can't do what you want with them. So
you're right.
So aside from it, having all the nice functionality crystal, with Logicity we also have a few nice features, first off, the main window here is pretty much identical to the Preview tab within Crystal. So you've got your group tree if you want to utilize that. You've got all the navigation controls, the full text searching, zoom, any of that good stuff. But we've also got our own Logicity menu bar here, which gives you some slick functionality. Like, for example, if I wanted to take this and email this to my customer, just with one button, it asks you what format you want to send it in, hit OK. Now you've got an email with that PDF attached to it. So just very, very simple to fire off emails. If I want to take this and open it, for example, the PDF, just one click, open this PDF. Now you got a PDF version of this thing. If you've got full Acrobat, the full Acrobat software at this point, you could even get into editing what you've got on the screen now. So there's a lot of slick little features there, in addition to the normal printing or refreshing, send it to Excel, any of that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the end user experience. From this point, we're going to dissect it a little bit and kind of talk about the mechanics, go on behind the scenes.